So this is going to be the final episode in this series. If you haven't watched the previous ones, I'm not going to re-explain every borrowed chord. And I'm making this the final one because there's plenty of material now to work with after we add this minor one. And I will probably start a series on using more advanced type of modes, more unique modes, etc. Again, if you haven't watched the previous episodes, I'm not going to re-explain what I'm doing in certain cases, like note choice and the type of chords, where it comes from, etc., etc., etc. That's already been explained, and we've gone through all that. Now, again, why am I doing this? Because you may be stuck in this, 1, 4, 5, 6 kind of rut. If you're into pop or something, pop and rock, you may be completely stuck in just using these purely diatonic 1, 4, 5, 6 kind of things. Even if you're a film composer or something, or want to get into that, you may still be stuck in this, and that's my job, is to get you out of these ruts with sequences like I did in the previous episodes, with still using C major as the home plate, just giving yourself an enormous amount of options to break free of that 1, 4, 5, 6 kind of music and that strictly diatonic music. So I'm going to go ahead and fade it back out into the program here. I'm sorry, returning on the camera. So we're adding the minor 1. And this, now we have all the chords that belong with Aeolian. Interestingly enough, we have all the chords that belong with Dorian. And we're also including Lydian chords. We could use any of those, as we saw in previous episodes, and I'll probably try to include one in here. We're also using all the chords that you could derive from Mixolydian, etc., etc. So let's just get started. I'm not going to go through all the chords and scales that we covered. Let's just do a major one, then a minor one. That's a very common thing to do, especially if you want to do like film scores. You could do something as simple as that. You mix kind of the major tonality with the minor tonality in the flat 6 kind of move. It sounds very mysterious. Let's actually expand on that. I'll improvise. So I did a similar kind of feel on when I got to the dominant chord. So it's just a major 1, a minor 1, a major 1, a minor 4, the major 5, the minor 4, and the major 5, then the major 1, as if you can repeat. It sounds very mysterious. So let's move on. Let's do something else. You could do something like this. Very simple sequence. So we got the 1, the minor 1, the diminished 6, flat 7, 4, 1, minor 1, diminished 6, flat 7, flat 6, 1, minor 1, diminished 6, flat 7, 4, minor 4, 5, and then 1 again, as if you're going to repeat. So you notice, just using chords alone and something like that, you're getting all kinds of little bit of Dorian, a little bit of natural minor, a little bit of major, Mixolydian. So let's do something else. Okay, we'll just say that's your phrase. Okay, so we got a major 1. I wanted to include the Lydian chord. 1, Lydian 2, flat 7, major 4, minor 1, diminished 6, flat 7, major 4, 1. So we're getting this really mixed tonality by using the minor 1, as well as the major and which produces really lovely phrases. That's very Ralph Vaughan Williams-like. Moving on. Okay, so you could do a little ending phrase like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of, you got a major 1, minor 4, a 5 of 5. I'm going to consider this a secondary dominant, like chromatic harmony. And then I did use a dominant 7th chord there. Okay. And the reason I chose the dominant 7th was because I wanted to do this kind of chromatic walk down when I hit the 5 of 5 right here. And have that highly chromatic line like that. So this gives me an idea. You could do a bunch of minor conversions and suspensions. So without the non-harmonic tones, I took the 1, converted it to minor, and that naturally resolves straight to that E chord. Converted that E chord to a minor, that resolves naturally to the Lydian 2, the B major. Converted that to minor, you could go to F sharp minor, and then I did chromatic median to D minor, and then the diminished 2. So it's just an interesting ways you can approach these something like that would sound great with like a big tremolo kind of build up or something. So in the next series, which I may just stick on Patreon, we're going to start mixing stuff like Phrygian dominant, Mixolydian flat 6, Lydian dominant and all that, and intermixing those in their chords too. And you could produce some really interesting sequences doing this stuff. And also you're going to find that the better you get at this, especially when you start doing this in several different keys, you're going to find all kinds of interesting ways to modulate that you'd never think of before that have nothing to do with the circle of fifths. So that would be more for the people who want to write dramatic music, like symphonic music, doing extensive kind of modulations and whatnot. And that is less functional based, but still considered chromatic kind of modulation because you're doing all this chromatic alteration. Because using borrowed chords creates chromatic alteration, borrowed or let's modal interchange, whatever term you want to use. It's not a big deal. And this is a form of chromatic harmony, except it's not the same kind of chromatic harmony as you would get with functional harmony, like secondary dominants, fully diminished chords, etc. So the sound is drastically different than that kind of functional harmony, chromatic harmony, which I have a course on. I'll link here again. So enjoy the series, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Thank you.